going to be a little different. So I have been thinking that nobody really knows me, and I have been working through a really problematic time where I am trying to apply for disability help. And I have been struggling to find the words to express what I struggle through every day. And it gets me every time. It's impossible to explain my day and how my fibro affects me all the time. So instead of trying to write it down, because I've been trying for 2 years to put it into words, and I can say it, sort of, it never really occurred to me that I could film it and I could post it, and that would hold me accountable, because I really need to explain this, and I don't know how else to. I have mostly expressed myself most of my life through my voice. I talk. I dramatize my life only because I don't want the real drama, the things that are so hard to understand and to deal with, those actual dramatic moments, like when you break up with your love of your life and you have, to deal with that separation, or you have a family member die of cancer, or a great many things that I have lived through. So I drama the normal day. And so that means that when I trip, I say death. And when I hurt myself in that way that I can handle, brush it off with a joke, handle it quite well. To me, that's why I've always done it with my voice, and now I need to speak. I need to tell someone else why it is that I can't work, and what is so hard for me to explain. And I don't know how else to explain it, so I'm just going to try to go for it. I wake up in the morning every day in pain. I start the day. The first thing I notice is that my reality is different suddenly. I can feel pain. And that's the thing that separates me from my dreams. That separates me into reality. And that's what I come to know as waking up. Because I can feel my body. And I can feel how tense my muscles are. And how slumped I feel. How hot my body is. And I get up. And I that's not normal, apparently. To me, that's how I wake up. So from that moment forward, I am just trying to ease the pain. So I have elevated my bed so that I am high enough above the floor so that I don't have to try to stand or bend my knees or pick up my own weight, because I can't yet. When I first get up in the morning, I can't get out of bed. I'm so heavy. I'm in so much pain. Crawling up from the floor is agony. Trying to pick up my own weight is just awful. So first thing in the morning, I can't do that. So I've elevated my bed so that I don't have to. And now I can just swing my legs out, and if my legs will hold me, I can get out of bed. That's the physical. Mentally, I am struggling to go back to the dream. The first thing I want to do is just get away from the pain. So I want to go back to sleep. And I have to guilt myself into waking up every day. I have to. Somebody else depends on me, somebody else needs me, something else needs me, the cats need me to feed them. I have to get up. It's existence. Okay. So that's my first struggle in the morning. And I can, in fact, give myself, if I can stay still long enough, I can usually get back to sleep. I struggle to remember my medication after that. And you'd think that'd be really important because it's an everyday. Why is that so hard for me? I don't know. And first thing in the morning, my brain is not on. Heck, I cannot remember my pills for all day until my sinuses start getting stuffy and my freaking cat allergy becomes very urgent, and I sneeze and I can't catch my breath and I'm wheezing and I hear this weird whistle in my nose. And that's how I know that I haven't taken my pills. This can be hours though. If I go to somewhere where my allergies aren't being super hyped up, I'll forget. So I have to remember first thing in the morning to take my pills. I'm on a lot of medication. I am on gabapentin. I am on naproxen. I am on citalopram. I am on citrazine. I am on supplements of vitamin D, and I am on birth control. And I take another vitamin later in the morning. I have to be on that much medication because otherwise the pain won't let me get up in the morning. I can't get out of bed. And I hate it. I hate every second of it. I hate that my disease has control of my body. It drives me insane. I struggle every day with the fact that I have to fight my own body. I cannot trust what my body tells me because my body is constantly telling me that I am in pain. So I have had to backtrack to the point where I am trying to mentally demand that my body understand that it is not in pain from an external source. It is not being savagely beaten unless I fall down the stairs. That has happened twice in the last couple of months. So I've backed up my body and I have taken the time to try to find just a routine that I can handle that allows my body to know that it is not in pain and that I am safe and that there's no protection that I need to be ready for. There's no weird sudden need to be physically fit. I can just slowly get better. I can recover. So my morning is a little complicated. I have to guilt myself awake. So to take some of the guilt off, I give myself a shower. I can have shower every day. It's not a problem. Have the water, why not? So hopefully I've taken my meds. And then I've taken the time to go to take a shower. And I take a shower and I don't wash my hair every day because my hair is super important to me and I like to take care of it. And right now, while I'm physically and mentally trying to take care of myself, I'm not taking the time to dye my hair like I normally do. But I don't want to destroy my hair either. And that will happen if I wash bleached hair every day. It does not mix. So, and it's not really good for your hair anyway. That stresses me out. And that's usually my first thoughts in the morning. And then I use the hot water to kind of trick my body into feeling okay, to relax all of my muscles. I take weirdly fast showers, but I think I'm taking forever. I have to kind of rest against the wall in order to stand under the shower, because bathtubs are slippery and I've fallen in them and I've hit my head a lot and it really hurts. And first thing in the morning, I am not, half the time during the day, I'm not able to just stand in the shower. Standing in the shower for 13 minutes, which is usually my average shower, is exhausting. My knees hurt, my feet ache. So I take the time to do stretches in the shower, safe ones, careful little movements, to wake up, and I brush my teeth, because I've discovered I will not brush my teeth ever if I do not brush my teeth in the shower. I don't know why. I have some kind of angst against brushing my teeth, and I don't understand. Me and my dentist have been struggling with it for years. I want to brush my teeth every day, but it burns my face, and it doesn't matter what toothpaste I use. And I've tried about 200 different kinds of toothbrushes. All of them. Every brand of every kind, all over the board, electric and regular. I have gone from soft to medium to hard, and I have tried all of them. I have got to my dentist and got the recommendations, and I've used their toothbrushes and their toothpaste and still not been able to stop the fact that it burns my skin. Every time I brush my teeth, my face is burning. So the only time that I can do that is in the shower. And I don't really like showering twice a day. That's just weird to me. That's too much, and my skin gets dry and hurtful, and I have to put in extra time to keep my skin moist because my skin cracks, and when my skin cracks, I'm really sensitive, so I can't do that. So I brush my teeth once in the morning, and I manage to get through that. Usually, once I've rinsed out my teeth completely, that's the end of my shower. I can't stand in the shower for long periods. When my mom was diagnosed with diabetes, I used her shower stool. She got a shower stool finally, because they weren't just going to give it to this woman with thyroid problems who was overweight. No. She had to develop diabetes first. But whatever. So she got a shower chair finally, and I tried that. It's probably the longest shower I've ever taken in my life. I think I've taken, I took the shower all the way through the entire hot water. I don't know how long it took, but I was having the greatest time. I washed my hair, I shaved my legs, I shaved my arms. I was able to shave all of the other hair. I can feel my body hair and everything that it touches, which is usually why in the winter when I don't shave, I cover all of my skin except for like my shoulders and to my arm, because I just can't handle pressure there. I have such a weird sensitivity. So I have to be careful in what I dress, because certain clothes will literally just drive me insane. I can't handle certain tags or anything else like this. So I was able to shower and shave it all off, because when it's all shaved off, I can't feel a lot of my skin. So I don't feel as much, I guess. I'm oversensitized constantly by my own hair. So during the winter, I usually put on layers, and I usually cover all of myself. I'm also cold. When I first get out of the shower, I'm almost kind of overheated, and then the room is ice cold. It doesn't matter how warm the house is. The house can be literally just freaking steaming, and my skin starts to realize it's cold, and it doesn't matter if I layer up immediately or not. I start to I can't even it out, and no matter how cold of a shower I take, I can't do that either, because if I take a cool shower, I get out of the shower feeling even colder than when I got into the shower, and I feel in more pain. So I take a hot shower, and I feel kind of sick, and I can't find a balance between the two, so for like 20 minutes or so, I'm kind of overheaty nauseous. And I have to take that time to kind of take a break, make sure I take my pills if I haven't taken my pills yet. I have finally found a way to keep all of my pills together in a way that I managed to keep them fairly close. So I don't spend any time away from home overnight because my pills are beside my bed. And when I take my pills with me to go, just things aren't as easy. It just doesn't work very well. I can't remember my medication until hours or sometimes like days. I can't leave the house. It drives me nuts. A lot of things drive me crazy about this. So, where am I supposed to be? Pills. And getting dressed in the morning. So I've got to take those 20 minutes, and I've got to rest, and I've got to deal with the overheaty, stomachy feeling, which means I can't really eat. I can't drink. I try to drink water to try to keep it at least balanced, even though that still makes me nauseous and sick. And I try to drink like room temperature water first and then cooler temperature water, and then it's a disaster. Like, I never win. It doesn't matter what I do. But the compromise is that if I go and take a hot shower, I'm a little warmer and more easily able to deal with the fact that I'm a little nauseous than if I was colder and still nauseous, because I can't eat first thing in the morning. Even if I don't take my pills, I cannot eat first thing in the morning for several hours. So my medication is supposed to be taken with food. I can't do that. So sometimes I take Ensure or some kind of meal supplement in order to kind of trick my body so that I can eat something with my food, with my pills. It doesn't work very well. So after that, I try to eat. Usually as I try to eat. I get dressed. I usually put on something simple to start my day, unless I'm going somewhere. And then I try to plan for the weather so that I take into effect that I could be cold all day or in a place where I have to get in and out of several layers or kinds of things like that. So if I'm staying home, I usually dress pretty simple so that I can get around the house and do my first basic chores in the morning. And I'm in pain the whole time. I can't eat. So I drink coffee because I can drink coffee. I've always been drinking coffee, and that eases some of the pain. And since I've been drinking coffee for so long, I know that my brain is probably a little caffeine dependent, and so that weird little headache in the morning is at least partially started by the caffeine. But it's pretty much one of the only things I can stomach in the morning. So sometimes I trick myself and I put my protein drink right in with my coffee cup, because I will at least drink my coffee, even if it tastes weird. I don't know why that works, but it does. So that helps. And that keeps some of the pain off. And it eases that weird headache. And I don't know if it really brings anything into focus, because I can drink coffee to go to sleep too. But I am hungry, like my brain is anyway. So usually I sit down and try to fight the nauseous by at least keeping the kitchen kind of in a temperature where whatever weird middle ground I need between hot and cold. It's tricky because our kitchen is one of those south facing, so lots of sun. So if I get up before the sun starts to cook the kitchen, great. And if not, well, I usually just kind of go outside for a minute, because I would rather at least chill off my skin a little so that I sweat, so that I stop feeling so sick because I'm overheating, but I'm not sweating, right, and expelling that heat. So I go outside and shock myself so that my body starts to do the weird clammy thing that it does. Then I'm able to sweat when I come back inside so that I feel better. Whatever. And then I don't usually eat for a while. That's just the way it is. I do my physio, which is in my orange book here. So I come down here and I do my physio exercises. I have my shelf that holds my strap, so I do those. I can make it through about one cycle of all of them now. And 2 years ago, I couldn't make it through an entire cycle of any of them. And now I've upped the strength bands. I think I've gone up 2 levels on my strength bands. And I am due to go to physio again in order to get better exercises and more exercises to help with my spine, because 2 years ago I had a flare-up and it was so bad that my spine just kind of just kept getting worse and getting worse and getting worse and getting worse. Until I was basically, to me, in a level of pain on the scale of 1 to 10 was a 9 and 10 constantly. It was always some kind of horrific pain. And just, it hurt all the time. Now it's kind of like at this level where it's about 5 or 6, which is, to me, a whole heckin' lot more easy to manage than a 9, 10, because I can handle it. I can handle it at about 6. It's a little much, but whatever. I've played with my medications, I've learned the exercises, and I stopped working. And I hate that. It's the one thing that definitely changed in the last 2 years that has made a real difference to my physical and mental health, because my body has constantly been fighting me. And usually I push past the pain until the pain is so bad that I'm basically sick. But all it is that I've collapsed and my body won't let me get out of bed. And I'm in screaming pain, but I can't scream. Not because I shouldn't or anything else, but literally my throat closes up and I can't scream. So I don't. And I just sit there and I'm in pain for days. Until I've rested enough to recuperate to do it again. And I'm not supposed to do that anymore. So I'm learning where that level is when you're supposed to stop, so that the next day, like if you go to bed and rest and the next day you wake up, you're at the same kind of level as you were the morning before. So that's the goal. That is not what I do, but that is the goal. So that's kind of what I've been training my body to do. And I have the strength of will. I have the strength of will to be useless every week for 3 days out of the week. So it's really hard. I haven't even gotten through my morning yet. I do my physio. And that whole time I try to not think about anything else. I just focus on the exercises, because really and truly I need some time away from myself, because my mind's always going and it's got nothing nice to say half the time. I'm a very negative thinking kind of person, and I usually look on the bad side of things, and I really just don't have like a positive outlook. I don't have a hope for the future. I don't find joy or experience any of that really, because I haven't. It has been proven time and time again, annoyingly so, that every time I have like a joyous expression or true happiness, a super high, immediately following it has a super incredible low. Like, I feel like absolute torn up cheese. And I don't like that feeling. I prefer the mediocrity, expecting little and getting what I thought I would get. Or at least expecting the worst and getting better than that, because nothing's as bad as what I can think of. So during physio, I try to get away. I try to think only of the exact movements that I'm supposed to be doing with the muscle groupings I'm supposed to be doing with it, because I compensate very easily. I have a lot of extra strength in my extremities that I have lost now, because my core and the muscles I was supposed to be using to do exercises, to do stretches, to do things, was inappropriate. I've been doing yoga a lot of my life, and I've been doing some of it wrong, and I had no idea, because I spend so much time by myself because I can't keep appointments. I can't travel for long periods of time out of my way to somewhere to get somebody else to help me. I can't afford to pay a gym to go to a membership that I will only use once or twice a month. Maybe, if I'm really lucky, I'll get once or twice a month instead of like just once every 6 months, because I can't commit to that kind of thing. So I have problems with picking at my skin when I'm stressed, and I will pick wounds until they bleed when I'm stressed out. And I have some self-destructive behaviors that really get me into trouble, like not paying attention to what I'm doing, so I slam into things. Full force, whole body, quite often with my head. My head leads the way, and I've had a number of concussions because of it. In our old house, we had our toilet really close to the shower stall, so when you were really close to it, I kind of slammed my head into it every time I stood up from the toilet. And that kind of sucked. And it's not really my favorite. And it makes me distrust my own brain sometimes, because I realize I've hit it so freaking hard so many times, and I've jostled it up, and I've definitely messed up my own brain. And it's a little scrambled, and like, I just have to live with that. I know that this is the best I can do, and that I am trying my hardest to figure out how to do this. So, oh gosh, see why this is so hard for me? I get so amped up, and I don't know what I'm saying, and I ramble off. And when you're trying to think your way through something, you're trying to write it down, you're trying to put it into words, this wandering feeling of every single second of your day constantly being a paranoid worry about the rest of the day, because you only have so much energy, so you only have so many things you can allot to things, and that seems really easy. Most people just get up and make a list and they're good. If I make a list, I will weirdly and actively avoid doing the list. I don't know why. So I make kind of a list, and I put the most important chores that the other people in the house will hold me accountable to on the board. So that's like dishes and laundry and cat litter and like certain chores, right? That people will make sure that I pay attention to. I can't make them hold me accountable for every little thing. Mostly because they can't. Pardon me. I also suffer from constant issues with my stomach acid being all kinds of wrong. So, agitation. And then I lose my thought. At least with the video, I can kind of go backtrack. All right, I'm going to backtrack 10 seconds and figure out what I just said, and then I'll be back. So, holding accountable to chores, and why I can't write to-do lists, and why I'm not supposed to do that. So my to-do lists, I have to kind of think of the chores, and I kind of have to allot whether or not I'm able to even do those things. I have to evaluate how much pain I'm in already, how exhausted my body is, how much the medication has helped and affected me, how much whether or not I've eaten, how much caffeine I've had, and whether I've actually been able to like get food into me. So I have that, and I kind of have to figure it out, and then I can't fully write it all out because that's a whole chore. That's a spoon or fork or knife or whatever your energy thing you're going to call it. That's one of my energies, is I don't have time. I have carpal tunnel. My wrist cannot handle me writing it out or typing it out on a phone. Like, I seriously can't do this all the time. It makes my carpal tunnel worse. So I have a bit of an issue. I can't write it all out. And I know that that will take an energy resource that I don't have. So I don't usually write the list. And because I actively tend to avoid what I put down on the list, I don't write the list because I know that I won't hold myself accountable to do those things. So I've got to keep that up in my head. And then I've got to figure out what's going on that day. I can't plan a lot of the things ahead because I only have so much energy, which is why I have to figure out what I can do and what I can't. So if I have appointments that day, a lot of my energy is going to go into leaving the house and getting to where I have to go and making sure I'm at the appropriate temperature for the entire time, whether that's winter and that means enough layers to actually be able to get in and out, or all the way up to, or be warm enough but not so warm as to die while transiting up there, and to make sure that my back is supported properly but not in such a way that it's in so much pain while I'm also moving. So I need a corset or a back brace, or all depends on the day. So to get myself under control and kind of keep that from getting out of hand. And I don't know what to do with that. I don't know how to just get priorities in a row anymore. I used to. I remember being able to write out my schedules and my lists and stuff like this and be able to keep track of it. But not when I'm trying so hard to focus on what I'm doing, making sure I'm taking it slow, making sure I do the exercises I'm supposed to, pay actual attention to my body and my mental state, because my mental state will fluctuate and then I'll be screaming at people for no reason. Because I can't control how loud my voice is, because I'm not paying attention to how my volume is when speaking. I get passionate or excited or any kind of agitation or energy, and I start to get louder and louder and louder. And then when I feel small and I feel hurt and I don't want to show it anymore, I go silent. I don't show you how much you hurt me anymore, or I burst into tears. No control over my tear ducts. Happy, sad, angry, mad, it doesn't matter. Like, these are things that cause my tear ducts to just pour. My brain's still on, but I'm crying. Unless I'm crying and hiccuping, and then I've lost control, and that's that. So I have to allot how much energy I have, how many things I need, and I need to go on with my day. I want to make money. I don't have a job. So I'm trying to at least spend some time every day learning how to set up a business, make products, stay on top of track of things, or at least in the case of YouTube, make a video and show other people like how I'm doing things, just so that I'm making an effort to have a line of revenue somehow. Like, you have to do all of the really boring hard work at first in order to get money from anything. Like, it takes a lot. There's like 100,000 videos on it, in fact, on YouTube, on how to make and break YouTube, how to make it into this thing and that thing, and how to do this, and how to make gardening easy, and how to, I mean, there's even people out there who are talking about my problems, and I watch them sometimes to learn about how to express myself better, how to deal with certain kinds of aches and pains, how to like mentally recharge so I can deal with the battle that is my body every day. And I watch some videos, and I try to make some videos, and I try to make an avenue for revenue into my life. And then I spend a couple of minutes to like an hour either fixing up my resume or applying to a couple of jobs, because I have limitations. It's hard to find, so like I have to kind of just look at a list and look at lots of lists on a couple of different sites and just try to find any of the jobs that sound like I can do them anywhere around here. I have a Google search that gets me to the areas around here that I can get to with an easy transit, that I can rely on transit all the way up until like a Saturday, because Sundays are just still not a thing for Calgary Transit's perfection, okay? So I've been applying, and I try to find jobs around here that I can do. It's hard to find jobs when you have the limitations of when you are working. You need to have like a certain number of layers of clothing in order to efficiently do your job, which means that sometimes I don't really fit into certain kinds of uniforms. And because of certain materials, I have issues. So I can't run in hospitality. I've tried. I have been and have worked in hospitality. I can't keep up physically. That is a really physical job, and people who think hospitality is easy, no, it isn't. They work really hard, and they move really fast, and you have no idea how much work they do. So that's kind of out. And there's a lot of hotels around here. It's the Northeast. And I can't really stand on hard floors for a certain amount of time. So like my maximum standing on floors is about 2 to 3 hours. So even if I have really good insoles and like the perfectly fitting shoes and just like the perfect outfit for the day, like I can't spend time on flat floors, even if I'm walking or moving, like even shopping. Shopping that takes too long just causes so much spine pain. How is that? I love shopping. Not like clothing shopping, but food shopping. I love to grocery shop. I always have. And I don't get it. Like, that's how long I know. I've learned the hard way. That's when my back lets me know, or any part of my body. Sometimes it's my right knee. Sometimes it's something else. But the pain that I feel lets me know that I have a short amount of time where if I push past this point, I will be exhausted tomorrow. Like I will waste tomorrow, and I will be sleeping for a long period of time, and I will be sore, and I will have to do some different kinds of exercises, and I may very well have to take a bath just to recuperate. And I hate taking a bath because it's literally stewing in your own juices and your sweat and your gross, dirty, whatever. You're just sitting there soaking in it. And then if you shower before, you still end up sweating through your bath. And then you end up being all sweaty and gross and covered in whatever your bath is. So you shower after. Either way, baths are gross. It just is. They are disgusting. And I hate it. But I know that it works really well for my muscles. So I put it aside, and I get a candle, and I get a book, and I go sit in my own human soup. So I know that if I push past that level of pain, I will end up in the bathtub tomorrow. I'm going to have to waste most of the day. I'm not going to be able to do anything in the house. I'm not going to be able to do big chores. I'm not going to be able to whatever. So that's like that short amount of time between when the pain starts to hit me and I have a time where I can rest. And that rest period has to be almost as long as the initial exertion period. I spent 2 years timing this. It's very frustrating. My own limitations kind of suck. So for working, that's kind of my limitation, is I only can work for 2 to 3 hours because most services have flat linoleum floors, and they're mostly concrete underneath, so they're obviously not padded, and no amount of my insoles make it any good. So like I've realistically accepted that it's like 3 hours, and I can do that, and then I have to be off for at least 2-ish hours. I need a rest where I am not standing or putting my feet on flat surface. Sometimes it requires me to sleep or nap or rest, like really rest. I have to lay all the way down. So it means that I have like a 3-hour to 4-hour shift. And I can do that once every 2 days and only twice a week. It's hard to find a job that way. Okay, so I take some time every day to do that, or to better myself, or to read some books, usually in that early morning, or I do chores. So if I still have energy that day, or if I start and I feel better after my shower and everything else, and I finally kind of gotten to that point where I realize I have energy, I have a chore list or whatever it is that my to-do list says, and I get to my chores. So I either kind of like come down here and I better myself again, or do something, or I eat, which sometimes that coincides really greatly. Is when I start to realize I have energy, I also start to realize that I'm hungry and my body lets me eat. And I don't care what it is that my body craves. Whatever it is willing to eat, I will eat. It is weirdly picky. That's fine. I can live with this. I make the best effort to keep in the house the foods that work the best. I need carbohydrates most of the time, so I need bread, pastas, and rice. It works. I can literally have rice sometimes with soy sauce, and that's my breakfast. And it's great. So I'm not going to complain about what I'm eating. So after I eat or read or whatever that recreation time is in that couple of hours in the morning, or during it sometimes, I do chores. So the main chores that get done the most often are, of course, dishes and laundry. I love laundry, but my laundry's downstairs, and it's 6 stairs down to a landing and 7 stairs down to the landing down here. So for my room down here, that's 14 stairs. Every single time I need to do something up or down. So I've probably already gone up or down 2 or 3 times at this point, and that's like a certain level of energy that I need to do, and I will sporadically have to take some extra energy just to run back up and down the stairs again because I forgot my phone, my drink, my whatever, and not fully organized on that yet. But the stairs make me nervous. It's why I know that there are 6 steps down to the landing and 7 steps down to this landing, is because I keep getting hurt on a lot of stairs. In the old house, it was carpeted, so it was mildly easier to make sure that I didn't end up getting hurt, but I had slid on the carpet and still managed to hit my head off of the rails. Here, I have fallen down the stairs with a cup of coffee. Luckily, it wasn't boiling hot, but still, it was ridiculous. And recently, I have fallen down another set of stairs, so they've made me extra nervous. I don't know what I'm going to do in order to make stairs better, because I don't know. I may very well put hot glue on the bottom of my socks in order to stop myself from sliding, because maybe it's me sliding. I don't know. Right before I fall, I feel a complete loss of equilibrium. I don't know what up and down is for a second. And whether that's me slipping or whether that is what's actually causing me to fall, I don't know yet. I just figured out that I've been falling too much for it to be reasonably okay. Once I can push aside, twice in a really short period of time means that something's going on usually, and I have to deal with that. And those emergencies come up. What job understands that? They don't. They don't like it. But maybe they're getting a little better with after this whole thing. I don't know. It's getting there. So I try to get my chores done, and I have to take care with the stairs, and I still have to take the laundry up and down, so I still have to make sure that I have it. So I have a basket that's long enough that I can basically use it as a prop all the way down, so that I don't technically have to carry it all the way up or down. I can literally up and down it step by step. It's annoying, but it can be managed, and it's not the worst, and at least it is, possible. Or, when I'm really lucky, I ask the boys, and they can take the laundry up or down, which is wonderful. Being able to ask for help is this thing I didn't think was okay, and I struggled to ask for help, because I don't want to encumber people with my issues. I get it that I'm kind of a little broken because of the fibro, because of the carpal tunnel, because of the chronic pain, because of my depression. Again, I'm already in the way enough, and I don't like it. So I don't like to ask for help, but I know that I need help. So I try to balance it out with what I ask for help with. Laundry seems one of those things that's really heavy. A lot of the heavy lifting has had to be handed over because right now I'm trying to work on what my limits are and what is pushing past my pain level. Like what is that? Where is that mark so that I don't push past it all the time? And it's tricky, especially when your sister moves. and you can't take that into consideration, and you're down for 3 or 4 days. And then you're okay for like a week, and then some kind of emergency comes up and you have to put away that kind of energy for that. Like, I don't have a lot of that ability to put in that extra amount of energy and recover okay. I don't know where that boundary is. So I've been learning. And I know that not everybody's having a really easy time of it, and the boys have their own problems, and we're financially short. And this is one of the reasons that I'm trying to explain what I struggle with. Because these thoughts cycle me every day. Like, the world en masse, all of the stress comes all at once, or not at all. So I either think about all of the kinds of things, and it just starts I start at the bottom of something simple like the glass needs to be cleaned, and this chore, and then, I start to notice things, and if I'm paying attention to social media, that stresses me out and causes me to think about the wars and what kind of that actually means for me, because I have family who are in the government who are at risk for necessities, and I am worried, and I get immediately all of that. I either have all of that stress and worry of all of the things that need to be done, or I have none of it. I'm not thinking about any of it. It's very hard to jump back and forth between the two. So I struggle with the thoughts that come after I start to cycle into one of those little things. And so I have to fight to get my own brain and my own mind and my own body back. And I have to struggle with that every day. And that's part of it. And that's why it's so exhausting. Why I'm so tired. And by this time we're in we haven't even gotten to lunch yet. For me, it's like breakfast. And then, which is about the same time as most people would be eating lunch, but it's my breakfast. And that's because I've learned that I don't cycle well in the morning. I don't sleep well at night until about midnight or so. And I don't get up well before 7 or 8 in the morning. Like, I have a lot of struggle in that. And it doesn't matter if I've gone to sleep at 8 p.m. I still struggle to get up at 8 a.m. It's a nightmare. So I was like, whatever. It is what it is. So sleep's hard, and it kind of gets juggled back and forth. So at this point, I'm kind of exhausted. It's about usually mid-afternoon or early afternoon. I get really exhausted. Like, my brain just kind of, and I want to nod off, and I can't struggle. I can't focus on anything that I want to focus on, and I struggle to find what needs to be done next, or to stay on task or move around or anything really. Like, that mid-afternoonish time, even when I'm at work, I'm kind of just groggy. I'm on autopilot. I'm not really in the greatest of moods, and that can make it very hard when I'm working in a face-to-face kind of zone, because you can tell I'm a little off. And then I'm weirdly fakey because I'm a little off. And so usually I need a nap. That's the way it works. When I'm babysitting, and I babysit a little bit with my family and with some really close friends who understand my exhaustion rate, I usually try to time it with their nap time, because they're in a safe place where they can sleep. I can go to sleep for a little bit. Works out pretty good. My nephew is not nearly as sleep-worthy anymore, so he's getting past that age where I can nap. But he also likes downtime, like reading time. So the other trick is, if I can't sleep or rest fully, I try to make sure that I'm at as much relax as I can. I sit down, I read. When I am babysitting, I read aloud to the kids, or we go somewhere where I can sit and rest at full leisure and they can be safe. seems reasonable to me. Usually it's the bed and we're cuddling and we're watching TV. Works nicely. So that's kind of the way it goes, is I need to have that weird rest period in the afternoon. And it doesn't really matter what time I get up in the morning. It doesn't really matter on what I do during the day. I always kind of get really exhausted, right? First mid-afternoon. And I get it genetically, sorta. I've read enough history to understand that humans are a little bit cyclical like that and they get more exhausted during the afternoon. But mine is kind of weirdly extreme. That's not fair. But I get so tired that I really do have to stop and rest. And I can't during that period really focus on certain kinds of things. Like I can't do math. If I'm doing a project or something, I will get easily frustrated if anything happens during that time and I miss the need to get that rest, or I miss the time to rest. Either or, if I don't notice or if I don't actually take the time to rest, I end up becoming really my attitude becomes worse, and sometimes I will full on fall asleep somewhere. So if I'm out and about and I'm on transit, I can fall asleep on the buses or the trains or on the bench and I'll just pass out. Or sometimes when I fully standing, my body will just decide that it is not going to work anymore and I will fall asleep standing. And sometimes that means I slump and sometimes that means I fall to the floor. And that's not helpful. So I had to kind of avoid doing that. So I try to make sure that that period of the day is accounted for and I'm resting. When I was at work, a lot of the times that would mean that I wouldn't get my tasks done first thing. I couldn't seem to get my tasks done first thing after lunch. And I'd be moody and I would have to try to avoid people and stuff like that. And it wasn't very helpful. And it definitely affected certain interactions with customers, because if they caught me during that time, then it was definitely a bit different interaction than normal, and I didn't like it. And I didn't like who I was like that. So I try to avoid a lot of confrontations and things during that period of time because I can't mentally handle it for whatever reason. I rest. I don't like resting. I like to be busy. And I feel that when I am doing nothing, I am not being productive and that I am somehow lost worth. And then I started to distrust myself and things like that. And you know what? I'm starting to distrust myself right now. I think that mic is... So we were on distrust and my rest period. So during my rest period, I have lesser stuff. So I try to read. I try to read my library books or a relaxation book, or I watch a TV show I wanted to catch up on the story on, or I play a video game like Spyro or something. Or I play on my phone because that's usually the closest thing to me and I'm able to either read or do something on my phone. Even if that is social media, because sometimes during my rest period I catch up on what my family's doing because I love them and I want to spend time with them, but I don't have the energy to make sure that I am able to deal with their needs at the time. So, one of my sisters just had a baby, but I'm not going to try to impose myself as my crazy, chaotic self on a brand new newborn baby and their newborn and a new couple. That's silly. They don't need to be stressed out by me, and the baby doesn't need to be stressed out by me, and the baby doesn't need to be around me as much during this early period. Also, I don't really like small newborn children. I am very nervous around them. I feel like I am incompetent and could drop them at any second. My body gives out occasionally. I distrust that. I am worried about it. So I think about it while I'm holding newborns or whatever, and I try to make sure that I'm at the best possible for it. But I also know that most newborn couples don't need all the extra stress. They don't need the extra people. We're not in contact often enough for them to worry about it. Like, I love them, but that's okay. I keep in contact with one of my other siblings just because I'm there every week, but even she understands that occasionally I have to cancel because something happens. And this is not something I can possibly just brush aside as, oh, that was an accident. No, something, like, usually it's my back or my knees or some pain aspect has gotten so bad that I physically can't even handle leaving the house yet. And it takes me hours, or I've done something, or I fell downstairs, or I decided that I wanted to go swimming, and I went swimming for 2 hours. And that's it, and I'm exhausted. Or I applied for work physically by going for a walk for an hour. Or I spent too long shopping. That happened recently. That was bizarre. I hate it. I literally spent a couple of hours on the flat surfaces of the superstore, and just, we went to another store, and while in that store, I just wanted to go home. I wanted to cry and scream and go home. I was like, what is this? I was having a great time. I was actually fairly mood-wise. It was normal. It was bizarre. But whatever. I had to come home and rest. I spent the rest of the day, like, from that point, I think it was like 5 p.m. we got home. And I spent the rest of the day, all the way until 10 p.m. in bed. And then I stayed up for half an hour to eat and talk to my family here. And, I don't know. I just went back to bed. Got up the next day and was still kind of just off. So, like, I can't always commit to being there when I say I'm going to be there. Sometimes it really just doesn't work out really well because my flare-ups do happen on bad occasions, or certain stimulus affects me for longer periods. Like when I get injured. It takes forever for me to heal. It's very annoying. This is stressful. And we're only in, like, the mid-afternoon, and I'm trying to explain in, like, this overall general way of what really affects me and what I struggle with, and it's really hard. But I'm trying to hold myself accountable to this. That I want to explain at least once with my voice, because my voice works better than everything else and faster. And this is how I can explain it. So, for the rest of the day, if I want to eat dinner, that means after, like, my weird nap period, I've got to, like, think about food, or I thought about it during the morning period when I had energy. So when I'm creating that to-do list, I try to also make sure that I think of dinner time and the other meals and stuff like that. And, like, some days I can do it, and some days, like, there's just too much to do. Like, there's the house, there's job searching, there's trying to build my business, there's trying to keep track of schedules and appointments, and then there's trying to just make sure there's enough food in the house and what the food can go together in and make that kind of a meal. It's just a lot for my brain some days. It doesn't make any sense. Nothing occurs to me, and I can't get my focus. And I've tried notepads, and I've tried planners, and I have apps, and trust me, it's been interesting. So usually I'd spend a lot of my time with the 11, 4, and 10 p.m. alarms. 11 a.m. to check what kind of energy level I have and what I have to do for the day. And then 4 p.m. so that it's after my kind of restish period, so I can plan for whether we're going to have dinner or not, or if I am going to have dinner, whether or not I pulled anything out of the freezers or not, and then what I'm going to plan for dinner-ish. Sometimes I don't have to worry about it because the boys handle that, but still, like, when it's my turn, it is complicated, and we don't have a schedule for that. And then the 10 p.m. one is to kind of try to make sure that I go to bed, actually, on a regular-ish basis. So, dinner prep is kind of hard to determine. Some days I am in too much pain to do dinner. I can't stand on the floors. Floors are hard. I have shoes that I use to try to alleviate that. And I have I have some of these like child squares with the numbers in them that I've taped together in order to create a foam thingy, an or a compression pad or whatever, anti-fatigue mat. That's it. And I try to use that as often as I can with my rubberized shoes with the insole so that I can get a little bit less stress for while I'm cooking or whatever. And that alleviates some of the pain, but it can take a lot out of me. And I will lose focus on food because it's not something I'm very good at. Or if I have time that I'm supposed to be waiting for certain meals, like certain pieces of the meal, like once I set the rice cooker or something like that, if I leave the kitchen, I often burn food. So I have to stay in the kitchen. In order to stay in the kitchen, I need to be doing something in the kitchen that kind of needs to be done, like dishes. So I tend to do dishes while I'm doing that, but that takes another set of energy. So I have to be careful to balance that and not become exhausted. And the whole time I have to do like I'm doing now, where I keep having to stretch or stop or do things. Like when I'm doing something in a concentrated period of time and I'm trying to get it done, or I'm staying on task and I'm focused, my body tenses up a lot. So I spend a lot of time having to kind of come back into my body and having to stretch out my body and trying to get it to loosen up so that it doesn't cause me further pain. And that's really distracting. Let's be honest here. It is very distracting to be distracted by your own body when you are trying to focus on something else. That is the hardest thing ever. And I don't know how to explain that. But I hope that makes sense. If I didn't explain it very good, well, maybe you guys have a better way that I can explain it to somebody and I can show them how hard it is. And I pull at my hair and I pick at my skin and that's why I had to shave some of my hairs, because I can't take care of it. So I'll pull at it until it's awful. Or when it's shaved down like this, if it gets to a certain length, I'll pull at it until I pull it out, or pick at the wounds in it. So I've cut a lot of it off in order to be able to maintain it, because I can't deal with it right now. And then later I'll just let it grow, maybe, or not. Never know. Hair grows back, piercings close, tattoos are forever. So, eating is kind of tricky, and sometimes I manage to get my night pills in there. So if I've had a really long day, or if the pain has really been on my mind a lot during the day, so if it's one of those distracting days, I will take a second set of the naproxen. And I always take some of the gabapentin. At some point between dinner time and going to bed. Is like that kind of area is usually when I remember my night pills. Because it's never particularly exact. I do try to eat them with food, but that dinner time can also range anytime from like 5 until like midnight. Depends on when we notice that we're supposed to be cooking dinner, what our plans were for the day, whether or not we had to go shopping, whether other things got in the way. So that kind of thing. Heck, whether or not we were energized enough to be able to even think of food. So, my nighttime schedule for medication doesn't work out very well. And I have just discovered over time that nighttime is erratic, always. And it is easier not to fight it than it is to fight the rhythm of the evening. The evening is for a lot more getting the weird big jobs done, projects, house improvements, house cleaning, weird random large chores, just basically any of the big energy oomph moments is probably best in the evening. So after dinner is usually when we kind of get things done, and then it's time to relax. And usually I don't know how to relax. I want to be productive. I want to improve myself. I want to sew, and I can very easily get distracted by doing something that is easy, like sewing for hours, if it is on a project that I enjoy or it creates that kind of spark in me. So projects that don't create that spark are harder by a long shot in order to get them done. So I push them aside and can quite literally procrastinate my way out of them if I try, which is what I do not want to do. And seems to be one of my fallback behaviors that actually doesn't help me and annoys me, and I actively don't like to do it. So that adds to my thinking and how much I have to think about it on a regular basis to make sure that I kind of stay on focus. So you can see where I go where I don't rest well. When I'm doing nothing, all of this kind of piles up, and my brain starts to list off all of the things that I was supposed to be doing or could be doing, or all of the projects that could possibly be done. And I go on a weird tangent. And usually after dinner is the best time for me to evaluate what I prioritize, but also like the worst time for me to actually do it. I have a kink in my back and I have a weird spot in my spine. I probably should just get the TENS and work it out. And I probably will after I'm finished. We're almost through at least my day. So maybe this will help me narrow down what in the heck to say. I hope. So nighttime is like relax or do things, and it depends on the energy level, and it definitely can't leave the house. This is not the time I can leave the house a lot of the time. So at night or in the evening, as it is for most people, we can, during the warm months, I can go out and do things during the night, but during the winter months, it's basically impossible. It's too cold, my body just freezes up, I'm agitated, I'm exhausted, it doesn't really fix it. Nothing fixes it. It's very frustrating. I'm gonna need water after this too. My voice is all crackly. And I get easily distracted in the evening hours. So I can think about the things that I'm supposed to be doing and prioritize them, but I can't actually go and do them because if I don't have the energy at that point. Usually that's the time I have the big chores done, or I am relaxing from recovering from doing big stuff during the day. And on the rare occasion when I'm not, when I'm just I've had a good day. Let's say I've had a perfect morning and I've eaten and stuff like that. Even then, my body still hounds me. I'm exhausted. I'm weirdly jittery and I want to do things. But if I do too much, then I end up getting hurt. And finding that balance between the two is it's a hard one. If you could only walk to the end of your house sidewalk, to the street sidewalk, okay, and then you don't have enough energy to get back again, right? That's how it is I have all of the energy that I need to get out there. And then once I'm starting, even if it's not when I'm turning back, if I'm doing something and get halfway through a project or something like that, I don't find that midpoint where I can turn around and stop. I usually end up running until I'm exhausted and I'm like, oh, I've pushed too far, and there's no feedback to tell me that I was getting tired. So I've been spending a lot of time cataloging what I do and how I do it, and trying to take breaks every half an hour, and I have things that I try to remember in the house to try to trick me into remembering all of the self-care moments. Going to the bathroom because my body doesn't signal that I need to go in any way usually until it starts to hurt. And it doesn't give me the signal of, oh, you have to pee so your bladder hurts. No, it just, my entire centralized area hurts. Or my spine is, can't for the life of me figure out why my hips to my shoulders is just shrieking. Stand up and I realize, oh, you know what? I should go to the bathroom. I feel kind of bloated. I go and pee, and as soon as I start to release the pressure, the pain starts to go away. So I have to play guess what that pain's caused by. And I have to go through the list every time I get up or when I take a rest. So every 30-ish minutes or so, I kind of have to go through the list. Do I have to pee? Do I have to eat? Do I have to drink? Have I drinking any water today? Have I taken my pills? Have I got access to the ability to things to turn off the pain? Is the pain too much? Is there more medication I can take? Is there a bath I can take, a shower I can have? Is there the comfort items that will make my skin warmer or cooler? Or is the proper food available or whatever? And I have to go through this stupid checklist of all of the things because my body doesn't always give me this correct signal. Like I get an overwhelming surge of something, an overwhelming surge of stiffness, an overwhelming surge of pain. But I have to play guess the thing, and I have to go to the bathroom and try to sit down and actually pee. And if it's not that, I have to try to poo. And if it's not that, I have to go eat something or drink a glass of water. And I do. I tried really hard to do the main ones, which are going to the washroom, drinking a glass of water, eating something, and do I need to rest? Actively turn off my screen or move to another room or find another position or whatever it is. And I tried, those are my main cycles. And then I go into the other ones of once those don't work, okay, so what else? And that can take a while and a lot of energy, and it's very distracting. It's very difficult to spend all of your day every 5 or 6 minutes going through this cycle of trying to ask your body what the heck is going on and what you can do to fix it so that you get some amount of relief. Sometimes that means I need to put a brace on while I work. Sometimes that means I need to drink 2 or 3 more glasses of water. And sometimes that means I literally have to go lie in the bed and hope that it just goes away. That's one of the actual things I have to do because I can't fix it. And getting agitated about fixing it will make me more unable to fix it. So I have to just rest. Sometimes I just lay down on the floor here, right here. Tuck myself under my desk and try to just wait it out. I have pillows and blankets and stuffies and all kinds of things in order to try to comfort me because sometimes there is nothing I can do. And that's the hardest part. Is having to accept that I can't do anything in those moments and that I have to rest and that I have to stop. And sometimes this is at night, sometimes it's during the day. Sometimes I wake up like this. And I have to remember not to get myself all worked up and agitated about how worthless that I feel. And I have to brush away the tears, and I have to get myself under control, and I have to whatever. And sometimes that means that I go outside, and I go down to this little field over here, and I just scream. Now, my neighbors all know me. They may not know my name or anything, but they know that that's the weird girl that comes out and prances in the field, and sometimes just screams. They've asked if I'm okay, and I've brushed them aside with good small talk. I'm very good at it. And I'm very good at getting my emotions under control sometimes. When I'm by myself, sure. When I'm in crowds, not so much. When I'm out in public, it's much harder. And a lot more will get under my skin and more agitated. So right now I'm completely separated and bubbled off from everybody else so that I can talk. Because I need to talk. And I need to try to explain this without getting agitated or stopping in the middle or becoming so increasingly hurt because I'm trying to explain the pain. So when I focus on the pain becomes worse for me for a little while because I'm bringing it into focus because I'm always in pain. All the time. In some amount of pain. I'm usually ignoring it to a certain extent. My calves are, tight. My thighs are stiff, or I feel like this weird ache or kink in my spine, and I'm trying not to flex it beyond the point of helping it and making it worse. So I stretch a little, and then I'm like, okay. A little, and I try to just do a little and see where the evaluation is, because I have to bring my focus to the pain, and the pain comes forward and I can deal with it. The same problem happens when I'm trying to explain the pain. When I'm trying to explain what I'm going through, it's almost like my body sends a signal and makes me feel that pain. And it's like this ghost that just follows me around all the time. So if I focus too hard on a certain part when it's in pain, I know that I will bring the focus in and I will be in more pain just simply because I'm now paying attention. And it works the same thing with emotional issues. So when I have emotional problems with other people and I need to talk about it, it is like I am there, and it is like I am experiencing all those emotions that I'm supposed to experience or am experiencing during that moment. Both happen. So like the emotions I actually had in that moment, probably feel this now that you're thinking about it, because you've thought about this a couple of times and you've kind of gotten your arguments together. Well, great, that's nice, but that's not what you said, and that's not what you have to deal with. So I have to kind of focus on that, and they can be really difficult for me to deal with. I don't know how to explain to people that I'm not very angry at them. I expected something of them, and that if they fell short, I am disappointed that you fell short. I understand why you fell short, and I can feel, I guess, empathy for your situation, but like you fell short. Like you fell short of my expectations, so I feel hurt in a way because you fell short of that expectation. It doesn't have to be some kind of big thing, but it is kind of, to me, like if I ask you to do a chore and you don't do the chore immediately, I'm disappointed in you. I can understand certain reasons up to a point, and then if the chore never gets done and I have to do it later, or I have to ask somebody else to do it and they do it, I lose faith in you. And so I don't ask you, because I have been trained by multiple people, from my absolutely abusive exes to my unknowingly abusive parents to my knowingly abusive parents to my unknowingly abusive siblings. They had no idea that they were training me to literally expect people to fail. And as soon as they start to prove the fact that they're failing and that they're not going to follow through with what they say, then you don't expect things of them. And I have that same kind of emotion and same kind of thought process for myself. So if I don't live up to those certain kinds of expectations, I expect people to be disappointed in me and to be upset with me. And that, I live with that, and I know that. That's something hard to take into account. I'm not very good at it. I don't like to be wrong. I like to be right. I like to delve into knowledge so that I always have the answers, because so far, a lot just kind of tends to drop in my lap, and I gotta be prepared to deal with it. It's not like you can just wish it away on somebody else. It doesn't work like that. So I like to learn, and I like to try to be better, and I have changed a lot from my childhood, and I was a very angry child, and I still have a very angry personality and a very upsetting personality, so I'm very passionate about what I think is right or wrong. And once I have been changed, I tend to stick to it out of spite, right? For the previous person that I was. So if I was a kind of a bad person in an area before, I actively try to go the opposite way when I try to improve on that. So overcompensate the other way. And it's an extreme of bouncy in my head to try to find that middle ground where I'm acceptably changing my path so that I'm no longer acting in a way that I don't want to, like randomly yelling at people just because I'm in pain. It's not their fault. So I'm working on trying to keep my tone changed, or I keep losing feeling in my hands all the time. Every day I drop things, I hit things a little too hard. I can't feel the ends of my fingers, so my fingers hit something before I realize that they've hit it, because I can't see the difference. So I put my hand into a shelf and I take my whole take my skin off. Bend my nails backwards. It just, that little bit of numbness can cause a lot of bit of damage, very easily, and I keep doing it. and dropping things and losing my grip on stair railings. Thankfully, those haven't seemed to cause my falls. So me losing my grips on railings hasn't caused me to fall, which is good, which means that it's probably closer to my balance than it is to me gripping things. So that's something. So I have had to deal with the fact that I always have to compensate for the fact that I might drop things at any given second, and I have a little bit of trouble with doorknobs. And the force at which I close doors, because I obviously have enough strength to close a door. It's not that hard. But I have also struggled really greatly with my anger in the past and always slamming doors, and now this lack of ability to feel my hands sometimes, so it's harder to control how much force I put into something. This is fun balance. Is like, I'm not doing it because of anger anymore. Now I'm actually trying to avoid both. Now I know that this is a consequence of other kinds of actions, and it's just bizarre how much they line up. Drives me insane. A little bit. Just, why can't my body just agree to be okay with this? So I kind of struggle with like not slamming with the doors, and so I make noises or I trip over things, and like I've got things that I would like to improve on and be better at, and I'm being held back, and it sucks. All right, my shoulders are sore and my wrist is killing me, and I have stressed myself out, I think, enough for today, and I'm going to try to post this and maybe write this all down again so that I can explain to the incomes people that just exactly what I go through. Because I don't know how to explain why I can't work when I have worked, but it is because I've pushed through and then had collapsing moments all the time. So I would be sick, or I would lose shifts, or I would not be able to manage certain shifts, or I would reduce my hours by half in order to like compensate for the fact that I couldn't physically do things on a certain amount of time. And sucks, because when I follow the schedule and I do the things, I can do the things for a short amount of time, but then it ends up cycling back and I get hurt, or I'm sicker, or this kind of thing happens where I've been off for years. I have looked over my own job research things, and I have looked at my years and when I collapsed and why I left certain jobs over time, and it is consistent that I have had a job until I've pushed too hard, until I've collapsed too many times, until I've been sick and had sick days too many times for them to be understandable. And they're like, yeah, we can't expect you to come in for your shifts, so you're not going to be able to come in for any more shifts. And it's like, yeah, I get it. It sucks because I'm fired, but I get it. And I keep moving job to job. And then I consistently was able to maintain a job for a little while, and just, the hours were good when they were good, but the stress wasn't the same. And over time, working for a company that you don't believe in because the way that it does things is immoral to you is just so debilitating. Like, how can you possibly explain to somebody that the reason you're so downtrodden is been at a job for a company that you don't like? The people is not the problem. The job itself is not the problem. It's just the company itself is so bad for the way that you think the world should be, or at least, your moral center, whatever that is. And in my case, it's like how we treat people in the company itself, and how they handle company things is just toxic. So the people are great. The job was fun, and I really loved working with what I did, but I couldn't work for that company anymore, and it was breaking my brain, and I couldn't find a job anywhere else either. So, and that happens, and I hate it, and I just want a job where I don't know if I need a job where I believe in the company, but I do need a job where I feel like it's at least along the same moral line as I am. But I'm in pain, and I need to sign off, and I need to post this, and hopefully I can figure this out. So, see you next time, guys.